everyone, it's Gina with Orchid and Opal, and I'm here today with another tutorial. This one I'm calling the Open Weave Lacy Bracelet tutorial. And for full disclosure, I'm not claiming this design to be mine, unlike some other ones that you will see on my channel, but I found a picture of something very similar to this on Pinterest, and I tried to find the source of this pattern and I could not. It is a little different than the picture that I had seen. I just kind of made it up to suit the beads that I had, but I would never want to take credit for anybody else's design, so I just wanted to throw that out there. And you'll see with this bracelet, I'm using or used the lovely blue agate, the dragon's vein beads that were included in the April 2018 bargain bead box. I just love those beads. They have such pretty detail in them, and I could not wait to use them. So without further ado, we will go ahead and get started with this tutorial. To make this bracelet, you will need the following items: 52 4mm bicone beads, 9 6mm round beads, 2 colors of 11/0 seed beads, jump rings and a clasp of your choice, a beading needle, I'll be using size 10, about 8 feet of beading thread, I'll be using the Wildfire line that you see there, a pair of scissors, and you may want to have a pair of bent nose pliers or some type of a jewelry plier set to help you attach the jump rings. For this bracelet, we will start out by completing the inside portion or the middle of the bracelet first, and then we will be going back around to complete the outer sides. So what we want to do first is we want to, I'm going to flip this over so I can explain it. We want to form kind of a little chain, and inside of these rectangles of this chain, we're going to be setting our round stone. So the first thing we want to do is we want to string on this rectangle right here. So let's get started. We will be putting on, and you're going to leave about, I'd say at least a 4-inch tail, because you want something that you're going to be weaving back in after you finish your piece. So keep that in mind. So we're going to string on 1 bicone, 1 of your first color seed beads, a second color seed bead, a first color seed bead, a bicone, a first color seed bead, another bicone, a first color seed bead, second color, first color, bicone, and first color. And this is what you should have threaded in that pattern. So then you're going to slide it down your needle, leaving your tail, and you're going to tie a knot so that those beads form a little loop. So you have a little loop, and just being careful that the beads don't get caught up in your knot. You're going to tie it a couple more times just for some extra strength. And again, we'll be weaving that tail back in, so don't worry about the fact that it's hanging out there. So after you have strung on your first group of beads, you should have a little loop or a rectangle that looks something like this. Okay? And from here, you want to reinforce this loop. So you're going to go around this loop again with your needle. I'm coming out here, so I'm just going to continue around through the beads. So I get back to the beginning. To make sure we've done one full complete loop. And you see that's where my knot originally is here. That's our starting point. I'm actually going to go past that. You'll want to go through the next seed bead and the next bicone. And you're going to go up through these next 3 seed beads on the side, just like that. When you're coming out of those 3 seed beads on the side, you're ready to go ahead and add one of your first 6mm round beads. So pick one up on your needle, and you're going to go through the opposite 3 seed beads. And we're coming out of the top of the right group of 3 seed beads. We want to go through the bottom of the group of 3 seed beads on the opposite side. And that will put our 6mm round right in place where we want it. Okay, and just pull it, and there it is. And you'll see that it's sitting kind of right on the top. It's going to sit up a little bit, and that's what you want. So then go through the next bicone and the next seed bead on that side there, and you're going to add the next little loop in this middle chain, which is this little part right here that's going to connect each of those larger loops that hold your 6mm round bead. So coming out of that top seed bead, you're going to add 5 of your first color seed bead. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Just like that. And you're going to go through the seed bead that you're coming out of, but on the opposite side. And I just want to get my camera to focus so you can see that. There we go. So come through the opposite side, and you see that it's formed a little loop, and you want to go through that loop again to give it some extra reinforcement. And going back through the seed bead that you started, and pull it nice and tight, and then go back up through the next 3 seed beads so you end right here out of this 3rd seed bead. Okay, so now we're ready to add our next link in this chain that looks like that original link with the 6mm round. So setting this down, and you want to add a bicone, your first color seed bead, color 2 seed bead, color 1, another bicone, color 1 seed bead, bicone, color 1, color 2, color 1, and finally one more bicone. So this is what you should have on your needle, and you're going to go through that same seed bead that you're coming out of, just in the opposite direction. so that you form your little loop or rectangle there. And again, go through all those beads that you just added on to give it a little bit more reinforcement. That way it won't be moving around on you when you add your next 6mm round. Everything will stay nice and in place. So go back through all those beads and then continue on through the next bicone and the next 3 seed beads on the side. Just like that. And this is probably a good time, or maybe after you make another whole link, I would go ahead and thread your tail back in, and you do that by just adding a needle onto that and just weaving through the beads. That way your tail's not going to be in your way as you're completing your bracelet. Okay, so we're coming out of this next 3 seed beads on the side, and just like we did for the first link, we're going to string on another one of our 6mm rounds, and we want to go up through the next 3 seed bead, not the next, but the other 3 seed beads that are on the opposite side. Just like so, and it pops right in place. And one thing I want to keep in mind, or you to keep in mind while this is not tight, is that you are going to have one side where the beads are sitting up and one side where the beads are not. So just like I kind of had to pop that one through, keep that in mind that you want it to be consistent so that you have all your round beads sticking up on one side and not sticking up on the other. And because I hadn't tightened mine down much yet, I was able to pop it through with no problem. Okay, so tighten that up at this point and then go through the next bicone and your next first color seed bead at the top. And you can follow the same pattern that we had just done right here. You're going to pick up 5 more of these first color seed beads, go back through this top seed bead to make a little loop, reinforce it, and end at the top seed bead, and then add your next sequence of beads just like this. So you'll want to do this till you get your desired length of your bracelet. If you want to continue and do 9 of the 6mm round links like I did to get the size that was comfortable for me, you can feel free to do that. You'll just have to see how it goes and see how it fits on your wrist. And once you get to that point, I will meet you back here and we will get to the next steps. Alright everyone, sadly I lost the next 2 segments of video that I had originally shot, but that's okay. Fortunately I had enough beads that I could show you again without having to take my entire bracelet apart, so that's the main thing. I will be able to show you what the next steps are. We're just going to pretend that this is the length of the bracelet how I want it. So just pretend that it goes on to about here, and we are at the point where we are finished making our center links. So you want to come out of this seed bead here at the top, I'm going to call it the top, and we need to make a loop that we can attach our jump ring or split ring to at the end. So we're going to be making this loop right here, and to do that we just need to string on 9 of our first color seed beads. So let's do that. Okay, so we have 9 of our seed beads on, and we're going to come through that top seed bead just in the opposite direction that our string is coming out of, and this is going to form our loop that will be on the end of our bracelet. And you're going to want to go through this loop at least 2 more times, maybe even 3, because this is a portion of the bracelet that is going to see the most wear and tear or pulling, and you'd hate for the bracelet to come apart at this point after you spent all this time and your materials on making this lovely bracelet. So you want to go ahead and reinforce that, and I'm going to need my pliers because my needle doesn't want to pop through there. Alright, and I'm going to go through, pretend one more time. Okay, since this isn't my final, we'll just pretend that I reinforced that. Alright, so what you have here is your little loop, and it doesn't matter which side you start on, if you want to start on this side to go around the sides of your bracelet, or if you want to start down here, but you do need to get to one of these second color seed beads, the first one that you get to that is adjacent to one of your 6mm rounds. So since I'm coming out from this way, I'm just going to continue on down here to get to my first second color seed bead there. Okay, and I'm going to turn it just because it's easier for me to work with it on this end. I'm going to set it down. And to make this first little tiny loop right here on this bracelet, you will need to add 4 of your second color seed bead, 1 of your first color, and 4 more of the second color seed beads. Okay, so this is what you'll have on your needle. And remember, we're coming out of this second color seed bead. We're going to go into that same seed bead just from the opposite direction, forming a loop. Like so. So you should have something like that. And we're coming out of that seed bead right here, and we're going to be going through the next 3 seed beads in that second color. So 1, 2, 3, go up through those. Just like that. And then we're going to be making our larger loop. That is that one right there. You get the idea, even though it won't focus. Alright, so to do that, we are going to string on one of our second color seed beads, a first color seed bead, a bicone, a first color, and 4 more second color. Okay, so you'll have that on your needle. And we're going to be going through this next second color seed bead that's right next to your next 6mm round. Okay, and then you should have something that looks like that. From here, you're going to string on 4 more of your second color seed beads. And then you're going to string on a first color seed bead and 1 more of your second color. And then you're going to go down through these 3 seed beads, 1, 2, 3, and the seed bead that you're coming out of. So you'll leave one of the second colors open and skip it, and then go through the next 3 as well as the seed bead that you're coming out of, like that, just in the opposite direction. So come down through those of the loop you just made, and you're going to have something that looks like this. So from here you go back up through the next 3 seed beads like that, and you're going to continue the pattern. So just like you did here, you're going to string on 1 second color, 1 first color, 1 bicone, 1 first color, 4 more of your second color, and then you're going to go over here and you're going to go through the second color seed bead right here. Okay? And then just continue the pattern all the way till you get to the end of one side of your bracelet, and then I will meet you back there for the next steps. Okay everyone, so by now you should have one whole side completed, and at this point we're coming out of this end here, this color number 2 seed bead, and we need to put a loop on this end so that we have a loop to match our other end, which is where you can attach a split ring or your findings, your clasp. So we want to come out of this seed bead on the end here ultimately. So let's bring our needle back through to get to that point. So I gotta squeeze through here. Through the bicone and through that top seed bead. Okay. And you'll pick up 9 of your color number 1 seed beads. 1, 2. Okay, so you have 9 seed beads, and then go through that seed bead that you're coming out of, but through the opposite end of where the thread is currently coming out to create a little loop. And just like we did on the other side, I would suggest going through that loop at least 2 more times, if not 3. That way you have a very secure loop at the end of your bracelet where it's going to see the most wear and tear. Okay, so that's 1. And you can always go back through your jewelry, your bead weaving, or project like this. Again, when you get to the end, you can go through the entire thing if you wanted to, just to give it even more strength. Okay, so we have our loop and we need to complete the other side. So you'll want to bring your needle back to your color number 2 seed bead that's right at the bottom of your 6mm bead. So right now I'm coming out of this seed bead here on the loop, and I just need to get back down over here. Okay, and we are going to complete the exact same pattern as we did on the opposite side, but I will get you started. We want to pick up 4 of our color number 2 seed beads, which in my case is the white. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1 color number 1, and then 4 more color number 2. Okay, you can see what I have here, and I'm going to go through the same seed bead that I'm coming out of, just on the opposite side, and it's going to form a loop like that. And I'm going to go up the next 3 seed beads, leaving one of my color number 2 seed beads there without going through it. Okay. And then I'm picking up color number 2, color number 1, a bicone, color number 1, and then 4 color number 2 seed beads. Okay, like so. And we're going to go down through this next color number 2 seed bead that's right next to your next 6mm round bead. Okay, so you should have something like this at this point. Just like we did on the other side, we're picking up 4 color number 2 seed beads, 1 color number 1, and 1 more color number 2. And we are going to go down through these 3 seed beads here, 1, 2, 3, leaving one of the color number 2s there without going through it at the top. And we're also going to return through that seed bead that we're already coming out of, just on the opposite end. And you see we made our other little loop. Okay, so we'll continue on with the same pattern. At this point, we'd need to go back up through these 3 seed beads, 1, 2, 3, like that. And continue on as if you were right here. So you'll pick up 1 seed bead in your second color, 1 in the first color, a bicone, first color, and 4 more of your second color, and then you're going to be going through this seed bead right here. So you get the idea. The same thing on the other side, and I will meet you back when you get to the very end of your beading on this side. Okay everyone, so we've made it to the end of our bracelet. We have both sides done. We have both of our loops on. So we're right in the final home stretch here. So all we need to do is make sure that we, reinforce our bracelet, again, I suggest that you go through your beads, you know, just follow the thread path any way you want, really, that hides your thread, to just reinforce and go ahead and make little knots along the way and just keep stitching through your bracelet. You know, really it's up to you how much you want to do that, but you know, it really won't hurt. The more you do it, the better, probably. I'm going to go back through this area and just get myself back around and get you started on that process. You can see I'm just kind of following the path here, and I could go down here, I could go over here, you know, for the first pass through. After it's done, I'm probably just going to go through the center, and then I might come back around through the outside. Just depends on how I feel, how strong I feel the piece is. And I like to make my knots a little further in. I prefer not to do them right on the outside of the piece because I think it hides them better, and it also is a more stable place to put any knots, because of course the ends of the bracelet are where you're going to see most of the pulling, and I think it's just a little bit better if you can get them further into the piece. So continue going through your piece till you're happy with it, till you're happy with how strong it is. Make at least 3 knots down the piece and continue going through a few more beads after you make your final knot. And then we'll meet back here and we will put on our jump rings or split rings and our findings or clasp, whatever you are planning to use. Alright. Okay everyone, we are in the home stretch of our bracelet. You've already at this point gone through and you have secured your thread, you have reinforced your bracelet to the point where you're comfortable, and I have added the first part of my toggle clasp along with a split ring on one side, and I have left the other side to do for you on camera, and I am going to use a set of bent nose pliers to help me open the split ring. I do have some trouble with these sometimes, so hopefully these will help me. So let's see if we can give this a go. Alright. And I'm just adding the split rings as another level of security on this bracelet. I feel like it's, you know, definitely stronger than a jump ring that could slip off more easily. So we've got that on there, and then we're going to attach this part of our toggle clasp, the ring. So I'm going to open that up again. And slip this on. It is very handy to have a set of jewelry pliers. So that's what the end looks like here. This is what our other end looks like. And how pretty is that on the wrist? It's just delicate, lacy. You know, the colors here would be great for spring and summer. Just really summery colors. And I'm going to go ahead and close this. I love using toggle clasps, particularly on bracelets, because it's just so much easier to me to put on a toggle clasp than to try to fool with a lobster clasp on my own wrist. So here we are. This is the finished product. Very cute. So I hope this tutorial was helpful for you. I hope it made sense. I hope you have fun making your own bracelet, and I hope you join me on my next video. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like and subscribe. I would also love for you to follow me on Instagram, Pinterest, Facebook, and Etsy, Orchid and Opal Jewelry. Thanks for watching!